Some I held, some slipped away. One street over where my memories exist. I wondered what would change. I really couldn't say. In this life there's nothing certain, except the curtain that rises to the stage. Silly games of second guessing. I just forget the lessons that I couldn't learn. Because one street over there's a life I could have known that would have kept me from the one I had today. Time gone by, I've traded like blood into clay. I thought my memories would end. One street over's now 1,000 miles away. When I close my eyes, I'm back to where I've been. In this life there's nothing certain, except the curtain that rises to the stage. Silly games of second guessing. I just forget the lessons that I couldn't learn. Because one street over there's a life I could have known that would have kept me from the one I had today.
Good morning. Hello, Robertson County and points beyond. This is 1100 WSBI. I'm Victor LaVern, and this is Works. We're going to find out what's going on, what's good, what's people living. And we love this time of the month because we get an opportunity to talk to our director of schools. Dr. Danny Weeks is in the house. And I appreciate you so much. You were out here in the parking lot, bless your heart. I actually got in here a little bit early this morning, and you were already in the parking lot in the car answering questions and doing all the things you have to do. Just no rest for the director of schools, is there?
Well, springtime, and to me, this is already considered spring, even though it's still chilly outside. But we really start getting something to do every day, every night, and things like that. And so, looking at spring sports and trying to manage and juggle my schedule. I love spring sports, and I love to get around and see our students. And I noticed I was looking at Twitter this morning and saw several ball teams kicked off their seasons last night. So I was checking some scores and talking to some coaches and things like that, and congratulating them on opening up and things. And we're going to try to hit some more of those ball games this afternoon and tonight.
Well, and tennis. This is so funny
Yes.
because it was hysterical. We do the newscast for Greenbrier. And so we had, I reach out to all the different teachers and I say, hey, let me know what's going on. I have my schedule and all of those things, but inevitably there's always something that gets we overlook. And I had already finished, getting everything together. We had one of the girls coming in to do the news yesterday, and I had nothing on there about tennis, and I didn't know. I didn't know they had started. So we put a little blurb in there that said tennis season has started. We'll have their schedule later this week, and so we just tried to get all that going. But we've got field and track events, track meets started last Saturday. Then you've got, of course, men's soccer is spring. You've got boys baseball, of course, and you've got softball. Let me see if I can get them all. We've got tennis. Am I missing any? Or is that pretty much the spring sports? But man, oh my goodness. We went through the sports list of things we needed to cover in the news, and there was just tons of stuff. And then not to mention that, we've got at Greenbrier, we have a band concert on Thursday night. We've had theater events. We've got a big play coming up in April. Guys and Dolls, it's going to be wonderful. Love Dr. Wilson. Oh, my gosh. What a treasure.
Right.
What a treasure. He came in with his theater class yesterday. Fourth block, they came in, and I told you we're doing a little satire on the Ides of March and the assassination of Julius Caesar. Silliness, of course. But we were playing around with that, and we brought some of the theater kids into that as well. And it was just fun, just working with him. But man, if you don't really, we've got a treasure there with Dr. Wilson.
And you know, our fine arts
yeah.
programs, as you
Oh, my,
mentioned,
yeah.
it's, you know, band and choir, theaters,
Yes.
they all get really busy this time of year. And
Yeah.
again, we invite our communities in to see those, but our office also tries to get out and see as many as we possibly can and be involved as much as we can.
Right, and and I appreciate that too, because I same thing here. I reached out to the soccer coach, Miss Howard, and one of the soccer coaches. I think they have another one too, but Miss Howard, and I said I need boys soccer pictures, and I promise I will get to the game soon and take some myself. But I need some soccer pictures, and so it's fun. Thank you for letting me do this. All those that had anything to do with me being able to be in the classroom, my husband in the classroom, we absolutely love it. And by the way, let's just kind of tack on there. If you think this might be something for you, there's a job fair today.
There
that's
you
exactly
go. Right. That's
let's just
right.
go right into that. Can you tell us a little bit about what to expect at the job fair?
Absolutely. We will have representatives, first of all, from our HR office that will help you get directed to, you know, what would you like to teach? Do you already have a teaching license? Are you interested in elementary and secondary, lower elementary, upper elementary? So, you know, the folks from the HR office will be there to help you do that. And then we'll have representatives from each school. So if it's not the principal, it might be the assistant principal that'll be there and conducting on-site interviews. So it's not just bring your resume and drop it off. I mean, this is, and we have contracts ready to sign. If someone's interested in finishing out the year, we're ready to hire those folks. If someone wants to start next year, you know, we're ready for those. And I know we've talked about this many times before, but we can help people who may not have a traditional education background like I do. You know, I went to college, got a 4-year degree in education, knowing I wanted to come out teaching. But if someone is mid-career in something else and has a bachelor's degree, we can put them to work just almost immediately. They're going to have to take a few classes and things like that to get the educational background. But in most cases, we can go ahead and start them in class, start them working, start them, you know, being paid, and getting them to work. If they're not quite through the bachelor's degree, same thing. We can work with them. We can work around a few things. They can start working a little bit, and we can get them in and try to finish that bachelor's degree as much as possible. So there are a lot of options there. We are going to have on site a representative from Austin P. We work very closely with Austin P Education Department, and we're a partner with them. And so they're going to have their representatives there who can evaluate your transcript, and it doesn't have to be an official transcript. You know, that's needed later on down the road. But, you know, if you have an unofficial transcript, if you can log online and pull it up or something, they can look at it and tell you exactly what you would need, how many classes or courses you would need, and how long it would take you. But again, we can just get those people started and find them a place to work. That's for those teaching positions. But, you know, we also have school nutrition. We also have substitute teachers. We also have bus drivers, mechanics. We think about those, buildings and grounds people that want to work there. I mean, there's so many opportunities to work in the school system. And particularly, even if they don't want to work full time, even if someone said, I don't want to work every day, but maybe I have mornings open. Maybe I have something to do at nights, but maybe I wanted to work in the mornings. You know, there's a possibility. Maybe they want to work in the cafeterias in the mornings. Maybe they want to drive a bus in the mornings. So many opportunities that are out there. And, you know, I noticed in some places, you know, that it seems like people are not as likely to hire some people part-time and things like that. But, you know, we can find something that would match up with a person's interests and skills and abilities. And we can be very flexible with those things.
I love it. And it's the when you talk about the buses, and Mr. Heinerman, here you go. That's what opened the door really for us in the school system is the fact that my husband and I, you know, we're older and but have no desire to live the retirement life. I just don't. I'm a farm kid. He grew up around farming. Right. It's just not something that's in our vernacular. I like, you know, it's nice having some time off and stuff, but I just that's not in my my mindset. So as we were trying to kind of find some things to do to fill time, he started driving a bus part-time. And started doing crossing guard because, you know, Dr. Causey was in, well, we need crossing guards. I'm like, Mark can help you do that. And, you know, and once we dipped our toe into the education waters, it just kept getting more and more interesting. And I can't begin to tell you how many people have said, "You're doing what, LaVern?" And then I start talking to them and they're like, "Well, I do this, maybe," and I go for it. And here's the thing, while I am a CTE teacher, and that is something different in and of itself from, teaching English, when I went into the job fair, 2 years ago, I went in to be an ELL teacher, and I was prepared to go back to college to do that because I had a passion for English second language. I had done a lot of that in the ministry work I'd done, and I just loved it, absolutely loved it. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to go in, I'm going to find a school that needs an ELL teacher, and that was Springfield, and they also start at 8:30, so I can still do my radio gig, and I sit down and talk to them about coming there, and was thinking, okay, that's going to be my path. And I'm going to, I was getting ready to call one of the colleges and figure out what I needed to do. And my goal was to be, embedded in some regard by the fall. Well, lo and behold, about 2 weeks, maybe not even that long later, I get a call from Dr. Osborne from Greenbrier that they're wanting to do this CTE program in audio and video production, and it just, and you're talking about taking classes. I'm in what they call an EPP program, and I love all the acronyms, and I love that all of us new teachers, you give us that sheet of acronyms because we need it. And I refer to it. It's red. It's a red page, and I refer to it often. But, and I also go, Mr. Google, what does such and such mean in the teaching world? And, find out. But the educational preparedness program, they're not just throwing people out of careers into the classroom without some guidance about, here's how you do classroom management. Here's how you write a lesson plan based on the state standards. Here's how you map these, all of these things. That's all part of it. And it's the things that you hear teachers saying, you're like, what are you talking about? Well, you start understanding it as you take these educational programs. So that's what he's talking about with the classes. And they're not daunting. I'm in a program that's out of Murfreesboro, and I'll be finished by December. And so my husband's in a program with UT Martin, and his is all online. And one of the cool things too is CTE, and I'll tell you, if you're interested in some of these career education things, there are grants available to even pay for it that you can apply for. So we need teachers. I've got a friend of mine that you're going to see there today.
Great.
I'll tell you off mic who it is because I don't have his permission to call him out. But he's got a teaching master's.
Okay.
And he passed the what is the test you take?
Praxis test.
Praxis. He passed the practice for English, but it's been a while. And I can't remember what his degree specifically is in, but he does have a teaching master's. And so that's his heart. Right. So I told him, I said, I really think they'll put you to work immediately. I really do.
Be ready to start. That's
I told him, I said, I can't guarantee you'll get into, I mean, he would love to be in the school where his kids are, in that district, but, or in that school. But, I said, you might not get the school you want immediately, but I said, I can almost guarantee you there are openings in English somewhere for you.
Exactly.
And so, yeah, you'll be seeing him today. He promised me he was, because I told him, I said, you've got to get down there. Yeah. And so he promised me he was taking the day off today to come. So what are the hours of the job fair again?
They're going to start right after lunch. So, feel free to come over 1, 2 o'clock, and then it's going to go until early evening. Okay. So we're going to be there kind of as long as people come by. So we're excited about that. And it's such a great opportunity, and if people just have any interest at all, maybe they want to find out about the pay. Maybe they want to find out about benefits. And let me just say, Robertson County Schools really takes care of their employees.
Yes, we do. Yeah.
If you may go next door and you may see a county that might offer a little bit more in terms of salary, but when you start looking at your benefits package and things like that, you'll see that the insurance benefits that are offered there. You mentioned being a new teacher. The mentoring support that is available to those teachers that need somebody to run things by, to bounce ideas off of, and maybe you don't feel comfortable doing that with your administrator, but they're instructional coaches, they're coaches and coordinators out of our office that can come out and visit with those people, sit down and talk with them. So, lots of opportunities to make the connection and make you know how to fit in. Yeah,
and that's one thing I have had. Just great folks that have come alongside me and just helped me with if I have questions. All I got to do is walk across the hall. There's somebody, I got Luke White right next door to me, Coach White, and, he's been one of my mentors, and just so many people that have been so helpful. Just really love Greenbrier. I know you've got a little special place in your heart for
That's
Greenbrier
right.
as well. And but I love my kiddos. We're just having so much fun. But I just say thank you, and my husband says thank you. We're having a blast, and I don't know. As long as the good Lord will let us be able, we're not going anywhere. We love it.
And
We just absolutely love
you
it.
mentioned being retired and
Yeah.
thinking about it from a retiree,
Yeah.
but I say it's energizing to come in and
Yes,
to
it
teach in the
is.
schools.
Yes.
I started my morning off yesterday reading to a group of kindergartners at Chrysler Elementary,
Yeah.
and you talk about just high energy first thing in the morning, and
Yeah.
it's there. And so, yes, it's probably not as stressful as working out on a farm, as you mentioned, and doing things like
Mm-hmm.
that. But being around people and being able to influence those young people's lives, it means so much.
And true, coming out of the private sector and having run a roofing company for 20 years and worked in the media, and I mean I'm still there with this, but full time. I mean in media for so many years, for my entire career since 1980, I've been in it to some degree. That's a long time, and the stress of that, you just have no idea, guys. But nonetheless, to be able to be in a situation where I'm just talking to young people every day that are just so fired up about what's next for them. I can't say enough about it. And I keep telling people, why don't you consider retiring into teaching? And if maybe it's not full time's not for you, we need subs. Oh my goodness, we need
Every day.
substitutes
Right.
every single day because things come up and you have things you got to go do. And, and we all of us try our very best to be gone as little as possible. But sometimes my mother passed away, so I have to deal with that. And so, I mean, there's just things that happen. And I got sick one day last week. And I'm not one that gets sick, but I had a fever, and I couldn't go into school. So didn't come in here either Wednesday. But nonetheless, we need subs. That's the point. We need substitutes. We need you. The job fair is today. It's at Central Office, and give them the address. I don't know it off the top of my head.
Sure.
Do you have it?
It's 800 MS Couts Boulevard, just right over off Central Avenue in Springfield, a couple blocks over, 384-5588. That's our phone number. And, if somebody needs directions or needs ask us to wait 20 minutes to hang on until they get off of another job, we'll be glad to work with anybody that's coming in.
Give them that phone number one more time if
Sure.
you would.
384-5588.
Okay.
Area code 615, of course, here in town.
Okay, guys, and we'll hit that again before we finish up. But I just wanted, we just kind of slid right into it, so that was perfect. But we've got to talk about the school board meeting last night. A lot of things went on there, and we honored a lot of kiddos. That was fun. I love seeing those pictures. Let me do a break, and then we'll come back and we'll start unpacking the school board meeting. Dr. Danny Weeks, our director of schools, in the house. If you have questions, you can throw them up in comments, and we'll share those with him. But we do want to mention our sponsors right now and stop and talk about Barry and Rebecca Richards with Exit Prime Realty. I've said the old name for so many years that it just kind of rolls off the tongue. But it's the same team, guys. It is the same team, same beautiful tree, just a new branch. But the Exit team now with Rebecca and Barry Richards. Rebecca's office in White House is part of this, where she is a agent. Barry is the broker here in Springfield, has an office on the downtown square, and they are a part of that. But they took those two offices together and made a new branch in the Exit tree, Exit Prime Realty. So what does that mean? This means, more specialized help for you. If you need something, you need to reach out to him. I ran into one of my students, speaking of my students, the other day at the store, and he's going into real estate. And I said, would you know what area, who are you going to work with? And he mentioned some things, and I started talking to him about Exit Prime Realty, and Barry and Rebecca Richards gave him the phone number. And, I told him, I said, check them out, check out the different ones. And if you're interested in going into real estate, he's already in classes. Man, talk to them. They would love to mentor you. They came out of other careers, and they would love to help you discover the world of real estate and the beauties of it all. Barry's a marketer. He came out of a marketing background. He's my go-to when I have questions that I can't answer with all the tech that comes my way, because he's brilliant at it. So he's got that marketing expertise that if you need new pictures, if you need videography, if you need walkthrough tour, you need drone footage, he's got you covered. Rebecca, one of the first in the area to be a seniors real estate specialist. They are, of course, one of the founding sponsors of the Kilgore Station Bluegrass Festival. Save the date, May 17th and 18th, going to be coming up. You'll see them there, and you see them all over the place. You see them all over the place. They love their community. They're so involved. And they're longtime sponsors, one of our original sponsors here at One Street Over, and we appreciate them. So give them a call today, 615-504-7425, 615-504-7425, or you can get them at sellwithbecky.com, sellwithbecky.com, or robertsoncounty.com. As I always say, they are cross-Planians. They specialize in Robertson County properties, but also they buy and sell in the surrounding counties and across the state line in Kentucky. Reach out to them today. Danny Weeks in the house. School board meeting last night. So I appreciate you so much. I had not confirmed with you, and I reached out to you yesterday and said, just making sure. And you're like, got it. So it's on his calendar. Thank you. So what did y'all do last night?
Well, one of the things that is going to become an every March occurrence, and again, this is bringing in, we like to recognize all kinds of students for whatever they do. So last night and Marches are going to be those times where we recognize our middle school students who do anything and achieve anything above, right outside of their school level. So if they receive an award or a program recognition or something, participate in an event sponsored that is outside of your school. It could be countywide, it could be district-wide, regional, could be in the state, or, could even be a national event or recognition. We had over 100 kids there last night.
Wow.
And,
yeah, I saw a bunch of pictures.
Yeah, 100 middle school kids together at one time. But we asked principals to identify students in their buildings for us that had, everything. And so it was everything from athletics. There were fine arts people. There were people who participated in some governmental programs, government civics type programs, and won awards. There were essay writers, just anything that they could do that they were recognized. So 4-H programs, just great opportunity to see those kids and to meet them. Their parents were there. They were so excited. And so we started with just school by school, and principals had told us the things they had done, made a nice certificate for them, and introduced them to the board. They met their board member from their district or their school that is associated with that school, and that school board member presented them a certificate and took some very nice pictures of them. So they was so excited just to be able to recognize middle school kids. We're going to do the same thing for high school kids next month. So again, hitting those, and just excited to see the work, to see those students applying what they're learning. You mentioned a minute ago about connecting what we're teaching, what we're learning to what they want to do, and we continue to say, we're not preparing you for the future. We're really preparing you for today. We're preparing you for today so that you'll know how to be skilled and how to head toward that future event that you're doing. So met lots of kids there last night, and just excited to see them, excited to see their families, and a lot of them just have opportunities through school that you wouldn't have anywhere else. To be able to travel and to be able to get recognized and to receive those awards. So that was our big recognition. I'd also want to say we had 2 Tennessee reward schools, and we were able to recognize those 2 Tennessee reward schools, Cheatham Park Elementary School and Greenbrier Elementary School. Both of them, that means there's among the top 10% of the schools in the state of Tennessee.
That's encouraging.
It is. It's so exciting. And it is all not test score based. So some of it, each school is assigned a summative score based on how your students are growing, your student attendance, how your students do score on tests, and how we work with the subgroups that are within there, how we take those students that are really in need of help and in need of extra work, how we push them further than they've been. And so Cheatham Park and Greenbrier Elementary School were recognized by the state for being able to accomplish that. And so again, to have the administrative teams from those two schools there, again, to introduce them to the board, to allow the board and the community to know that, we're super proud proud of all of our schools. We're proud of all the work that everybody does. But to be recognized as a Tennessee Reward School is quite an accomplishment. And, there's some history there with, Greenbrier being able to do that, and Cheatham Park has done that before. So, quite excited about that. And to come in and to see the work that's based on the work that was done last year. So, we're hoping that we'll have some more accomplishments like that next year, and so just exciting to have those principals there with us.
I love it, and that's as when you get on the inside of teaching and you understand the importance of all these of the ratings and the scorings and all of those things, it's crucial, and it's not because as schools we want to say, oh, look at us, it's because we care about those kids. Because if those things, if you're getting that recognition, that means the kids are doing better.
Right.
And there's nothing more frustrating than teachers pouring themselves into these kids, and then still coming, things coming in to not where you want them, because it's not about us. It's about those kids. And when you can see that encouragement and see these kids, the light's starting to come on, man, it's just such a beautiful thing. So that's encouraging.
And, just one piece of that, for example, it has to do with student attendance.
Oh,
you know,
yeah, that's huge.
And just, being there, and that factors into the grades that the schools receive and the ratings and the rankings, as you mentioned. And so how important it is, first of all, that we have families that understand, as long as we don't have a sickness or an illness that we spread to other people, being at school is important. Being at school on time is important. Staying at school all day, trying to schedule those appointments. And I know everybody cannot always schedule an appointment outside of school hours, but, if we had a dentist appointment in the middle of the day, coming back to school and catching those afternoon classes. And so, the family understanding those important dynamics about doing that. And that starts in kindergarten, maybe, this week it's hard for all of us to get up with the time change. It is me particularly. But with the time change, just knowing that, there sometimes, we might not feel like just ready to hop up in things. The hour impacted some of us at church on Sunday, I think, maybe, and maybe even yesterday, but, being able to get up and to establish those regular routines and those regular habits about getting to school. And, for there's some folks that don't have that work ethic and that importance of doing that, but, just throw that into, but, the overall, the measuring and the ranking of our schools, to see two reward schools is so exciting. So to have them there with us last night.
Very cool. Well, what else have you got for us? Let's continue on.
We move on. We talked quite a bit about projects that we are having from a building perspective and things like that. Obviously, most of the projects that we're working on have to be done outside of school hours and when students aren't there and different things like that. So we'll be hitting several maintenance projects around spring break. Our maintenance employees are still working next week, and so they'll be coming in and they'll be hitting some of those things that might need some attention. Where you have to get into ceilings, tearing out walls, working on bathrooms and things like that. So they'll be around working several projects, but we're also talking about longer and bigger term projects at IA. We have a construction project that will start hopefully as soon as school is out, working on some plumbing, bathroom, all things plumbing renovations and things there at IA. We're working on a new air conditioning system there, and so we're talking about how the timing and the scheduling of that, getting the money lined up for those type things will work. We have been working on some bleachers at Coopertown Middle School, and that sounds like an easy project, but to get the concrete pads laid down and all that kind of stuff, and the bleachers in the right place so that they can be used for football season, that's one of those projects that's coming up. Going to be working on in the Coopertown community some additional ball field space that they're going to be able to use and need out there. So we talked an awful lot about the money, the allocation that has been set aside for those things this year, but also talking in the future about how those things will impact our budget, how we budget for additional projects like that, how we prioritize projects for things like that. So we spent a lot of time, especially during our planning session, to talk about how those things impact the budget, how they impact scheduling, how they impact students, and how we'll be doing those things. So excited about that. Um, During our consent agenda, and the consent agenda are those things that we look at, and that mainly reports that that our board members see, and they get a chance to review the reports. So lots of travel activities for students. We've talked about the importance of student travel and being involved in um, field trips, athletic events, and things as they travel throughout the spring. So those things are on the consent agenda. Where the board just they look at them, they make sure they meet our guidelines, and we've recommended approval on those. So special permissions for things like that, our financial reports overall, our discipline reports overall. Some board policy revisions they've looked at, and then just looking at those, making sure that those meet all of our guidelines and that they need to do. Um,
Well, and we were talking about all the sports and things. Oh my goodness, the extracurricular stuff that's going on with the clubs, and that's one thing we had really Skills USA and
Right.
FFA. Oh my goodness, FFA. So busy right now. That it seems like everything for FFA is happening right
Right.
now, and I love for the kids to be a part of it. I love seeing what they're doing. That's where I discovered my love for public speaking. I was a public speaking rep for my FFA chapter back in the 70s, y'all. I still have the corduroy coat. Fun stuff for these kids,
It
but
is.
they don't just go, guys. It has to go through the school board.
Right.
That's what he's talking about. All those things have to be approved, and so I think people just don't realize the complexity
Yeah.
of what it is when it comes to educating our kids. And I kind of got it until I was inside inside it. But it's a whole lot of really caring people that take this extremely seriously,
Mhm.
and everything going through the school board. I was stunned at the things that y'all have to go through
Yeah.
and look at. I
Well,
really was. I was like, oh, they've got to approve our trip to Skills. Oh,
Mhm. And again, it's for the well being of the students.
Yes.
We want to make sure that a teacher has sat and thoughtfully planned out, where we're going to go, where we're going to stay, where we're going to eat, what's the agenda, is it practical from a financial standpoint? Because there are opportunities to go somewhere all the time. Some of them just aren't physically responsible for us to do and to participate in. So, how big of a burden is that on families? And so, just a field trip form that comes to my office for me to recommend to the board is usually about 4 pages long.
Yeah, for
And,
sure.
detailed.
And it's no joke, guys. And I just wanted to kind of reiterate that because I think people don't understand the complex side of that and
Right.
and how much detail goes into this. It's not just like, oh yeah, go. No. No. We're going to pause for a second, go ahead and take another one of our breaks, and we'll reset and come back. I'm going to talk about one of our sponsors. We're talking with Dr. Danny Weeks. He's giving us a report on the school board meeting from last night. And again, we remind you that today is the day. If you're interested in working for the Robertson County School District in any capacity, whether it be teaching, subbing, driving a bus. Yes, there you go, Mr. Heinerman. I'm not going to forget about the buses. Being a attendant on a bus, being a mechanic for the bus, working in grounds, working in the cafeteria, any aspect of working for Robertson County Schools, today is the day. You need to get by central office after lunch, and they have got a job fair, and we'll continue to share those specifics, but we're going to continue to talk about that, and we're going to continue to talk about our sponsors. I've got to talk about Mr. Perry's music. Oh my goodness. I love Perry Myers, love Katie Myers. We'll talk about Katie Did It and all that on Thursday, but I had the opportunity on Friday to go see one of my students, Aiden Raymer. I'm going to just call you out, buddy. I had him come into AV class last year in the fall on my first excursion into teaching, and I went around and talked to my kids. I said, "Well, do you do anything? What are you interested in?" And Aiden was like, "I play guitar." And I said, "Well, are you any good?" And he was like, kind of. He's very humble. Well, they have a little band called Coronium that they built through Mr. Perry's music and the band camps and all the things that they do in the summer. And oh my goodness, this young man, it was funny. Perry was saying, his teacher was saying, the young man can do some things with the guitar I can't do. He's that talented. And as I'm pulling up Mr. Perry's music Facebook page today, there's a picture of 3 youngins. And I just can imagine, I would love to see this picture, Perry, of the kids from Coronium, because they started at a summer camp. They got together 3 years ago at a summer camp, and they play gigs now. They're going to play a prom, and they've got several of them are getting ready to go off to college. And so they did a showcase for them Friday night, and it was just awesome. And at Willow Oak, by the way, but it was just great. If you want this experience for your kids, I'm looking at the faces that they're showing on Mr. Perry's music Facebook page. 3 young kids. I can't wait to see these guys in a few years because they look like they got it going on. They're going to be a band. But I would love to. It's just fun to see the kids grow into all these different things. And I meant to ask Aiden the other day. He's so good on guitar. We worry about the kids spending so much time gaming. Kind of think he probably doesn't spend a ton of time on gaming. I don't know, maybe he does, but I don't think so. But if you want to get your kids off the games and get them involved in something, get them involved in some kind of a socialization with friends. This is one of the kids in Crony, and Mr. Perry said, he looked over at him, he says, "Look at you. You wouldn't talk to anybody when you started playing in the band." And now the kid was just out there and just really enjoying it. It's just really cool to see. Is that for your kids? Summer camps. If you want to get involved in the camps, I'm not sure how many slots they have left, but if they're full, you can get private lessons. He can play anything. He teaches me, guitar and mandolin, and I really want to try keyboards. I'm going to get my grandkid in there. I want him to kind of play around with all the different instruments and see what maybe is just the right fit for him. You need to reach out to him. You can go to MrPerrySpringfield.com, MrPerrySpringfield.com. That's the best way to get in touch with him, is to message him there, because when he's teaching, he's busy. So if the house is rocking, you're going to see that they're very, very busy. They got kids in there playing music on Monday nights. Man, that place is rocking. It is so much fun. But it's at 2213 Memorial Boulevard. Mr. Perry's Music, the house that rocks. Get in there and go see them. They sell equipment as well. So much stuff. I just had so much I wanted to tell you about Mr. Perry's Music. MrPerry'sSpringfield.com. Reach out to them today and get your kids hooked up. You just never know what might be in store. They might be in a band, and have a great time and make some friendships for life, and learn to play, some really really cool stuff on the guitar. Who knows? And be sure to Dr. Danny Weeks is in the house. And we'll talk about it. I had so much fun. I've got a little bit of some teachers do not know who can do this. It's so cool.
Well, and just like you, I didn't know you were a musician. How about that?
Well, you too.
Well, yeah.
Well, as far as the instruments, I don't really play in front of people. I don't practice enough. I look at the time that had to go into the way some of these kids can play, and I'm like, wow. I mean, I sing like everybody in Nashville, but yeah, I love music. I love it. It's
and we do.
Yeah.
We have such great fine arts programs. Again, I just want to go back and touch on that.
Yes.
And as you mentioned, it's just such a pleasure and an enjoyment. People that try to say all we do is teach tests and things like that, they just need to come visit our schools. And, we were highlighting some things that happened last week and are happening in the spring. But, Read Across America, we were so fortunate. We had a lot of county commissioners. We had a lot of police officers, you name it, senators, representatives, people that came in and just sat down and read to a group of students last week. The program called Read Across America. And so I think every one of our elementary schools had somebody from that community to come in, and whether it was their county commissioner, their police officer, their school board representative and things. So just to see the joy last night, I think every one of our school board members talked about going in and reading to a class of students and just, taking that time and showing students it's so important to come out of what you're doing, just to be able to step aside and touch somebody else's life. And that's, that's really what we do in schools. We help them just prepare for the day, prepare for the future, engaging in those activities, inspiring them to do something bigger than they are.
I love it.
Yeah.
Be a part of it, guys. There's a job fair today. We can just kind of tag that again this afternoon. We'll give you more on that in just a minute. But if you want to work for Robbins County Schools in any capacity, get there today to the central office. Now, what else have you got for us from the school board meeting?
Again, the rest of it's pretty report oriented.
Okay.
We always look at personnel reports every month, and so the board looks at the actions of the personnel department, the human resources department. We call out specifically those teachers that have already announced their retirement for the end of the year, those teachers and support staff. So I think we had 7 or 8 last night that have said, this is plenty and time to move on to something else for them. But teachers take leaves of absence. Teachers sometimes move on to other things during the middle of the year. So the board reviews those personnel reports and look at those. We also look at expenditure reports, and so we see where we are. So they look at the income, and of course the revenues that come mainly to the school system are from property taxes and from local sales tax. And so looking at the revenues there, along with the other revenues that come in from the state, seeing how they stack up to our expenditures, making sure that we're being good stewards and good physical representatives of the dollars that we're allocated. And so we take some time to review those things. We started a new program, and we've proposed this last night, and the board was very gracious to accept that. But as we talk about diversity among students, there are a lot of students that receive some pretty high level health care while they're at school. These are students that may need some feeding tubes, may need special care, may need special attention, from a nurse while they're at school. And we found a program that will help us work through their insurance to pay for some of those services that they're receiving at school that they would normally go and receive through a doctor's office or a healthcare facility and things like that. So some of our nurses in schools that are already performing these services, we can recoup some of those dollars. So again, being good stewards of the dollars that we have access to, and bringing some money back into the school system for services that we're already providing. So the board looked at that program last night and has approved that. We're gonna pilot that for a year or so and see how that goes and everything. So looking at that. We talked about some of the construction projects that they approved bids on last night, and so we're happy with those. And then finally, we ended up we were talking about honors and recognitions at the start of the meeting, but we finished up recognizing our school nutrition program because they had just been through an on-site audit from the State Department of Education's school nutrition program. So they come in, they look at our cafeterias, and they look at the safety and health ratings of every cafeteria, but they also there's such strict guidelines on what constitutes a meal, and so making sure that our managers are serving those meals and offering those meals to students that are within the health and nutrition guidelines that they require to be done, and ordering and taking care again of the physical responsibilities of being a cafeteria manager, how how the students are participating, what they're doing, everything from cleanliness all the way down to what's stocked in the freezers and how meals are served to students, what we offer versus what is provided on a standard meal. And so our cafeterias were recognized, and we recognized Ms. Patsy Gregory for successfully going through that audit without those findings. And so, again, what you talk about school being a business, but school nutrition, the cafeterias are business inside of a business. So again, it's a very important. So we recognized her for doing that, kind of as a report of an audit, but also as a recognition for good work for our cafeteria workers and managers there.
I want to say something about the cafeteria workers too, guys. Do you have any idea what time they get to school? Oh my goodness. I've always joke around that I've spent my entire career getting up at dark 30, and in media, that's what, that's our little joke, is because we get up at dark, because I've always been part of a morning show in some capacity. But no, the cafeteria workers get up as early as my husband did when he was roofing in the summer, because they used to get up, middle of the night, right, so they could start roofing at 5 a.m. while it was cool. And you get to school and they've been there all day, it seems like, already. And you're talking about the business side of it. It's so funny because there's a dumpster right near my classroom that I had been putting stuff in. I didn't realize that was the cafeteria. Of course, I quit that very quickly, but they have to pay for that separate. And she let me know. She goes, I have to budget for that. Don't be filling up my dumpster. And I just love our cafeteria so much. They're sweet people. They just do a wonderful job. And oh my goodness, the hours they put in for these kiddos, and they take it. So I remember I had a field trip. And they were like, okay, are you sure you got the meals for your kids? They're serious about it.
Yes.
Do you have enough meals? They want to make sure these kids are fed. You talk about taking something seriously. Right. Yes, they do. And they don't get enough respect. They do not.
Right.
And everybody's like, well, I didn't like that. Well, stop it.
Yeah.
It's, you know, it is just, they're doing a fabulous job. And they really
They
do
are
a
and,
fabulous job.
You know, we fully believe hungry kids can't learn. You know, when you're
I
hungry
agree.
and you're thinking about, you know, I wish I had this, I wish I had that. You know, it's hard to focus on whatever you're teaching, as exciting as I'm
Yep.
sure your class is. But the you know the cafeteria is again a long way from where cafeteria was when we were in school.
For
You know,
sure.
lots of different options, fresh salads, fresh opportunities, sandwiches, and things like that. So many opportunities for kids to come in, and you know, it's a two-way street. You know, in serving food, you gotta meet several strict guidelines, but again, you gotta have things that people will eat, and so that balance. So and then being profitable for, you know, we're not trying to make a profit, but you gotta be balanced.
It's a
out, and
business. It's a business.
right?
You know. So I mean, it's just there's just so much work that goes into all this. And I'm watching the folks that are listening. And Lauren Gray just popped in. Miss Gray, she's our special needs teacher there at Springfield. So and you mentioned, you know, all this. That I visit with her. She's a mentor of mine, and I visit with her quite often about some of the things that we just don't think about. That you know, you were talking about the things that some of these kids need that come in that have got some medical issues and
Right.
all of the things. It's just, there's so much to it, guys. So much to it. Be a part of it. Join us at the job fair today, happening right after lunch, and it's going to be over at the central office. I'm just going to keep pounding this because this is how the doors opened for me, guys. 2 years ago, I went in there, and the next thing I know, I'm on a path I had no idea was there, and it's just a great blessing. You just have no idea what the good Lord, what door He's going to open for
Right.
you, but you got to, you know, go and open. You know, you got to peek in and say, "Hey, what's going on in here?"
Yeah.
So
And-
come on.
And we don't want anybody to be intimidated. You know,
Not at all.
Come in, share your dreams with us. Share what you're thinking, and maybe we can. You know, I don't even know that everybody in our community knows the vast opportunities that we offer now. You know, it's not just English, math, social studies, and science. I mean, there's so many classes just like yours. You know, the CTE programs that really are hands on and get students up out of their seats and get them moving, get them thinking, get them working on the keyboards. You mentioned FFA. You mentioned it just thing after thing. Welding. I saw some students working on welding, learning HVAC.
Oh,
I mean,
that's
you
huge,
know,
and what a great career.
Yeah, and if somebody's, you know, out in the business world, maybe they're tired of doing that. Maybe they're tired of running their own business. Come in, teach that skill to that next generation, and again, you know, come back and talk about the pay and the benefits that go along with that, and you can spread that to the next generation while taking care of yourself as a professional as well.
And you know, we have and I forget exactly what it's called, but we have a class about life skills. It's a life skills class that Miss McCullough is teaching. And I knocked on her door that one day, and it's probably last semester, and they were learning to change a tire and change oil and things like that. Life skills, and they learn about doing their taxes, and they learn about, you know, how do you cook. I mean, things that when we were growing up we took for granted.
Right.
But these kids, there's so many kids that are in families that are, you know, they're one parent households, and they're living in situations that we just can't even fathom. Nobody's teaching them this stuff, not because nobody cares about them, because maybe they've got one parent and they're doing all they can do. I had a sweet kid. I was saying, it just really struck me so hard yesterday, because we were doing this Ides of March thing, and I was talking about who Julius Caesar was, and I was like, "You don't know who Julius Caesar is?" And he goes, "I don't know who my dad is." And I was like, "Wow,
Yeah.
we've got so many kids like that, man. If that doesn't just make you go, I want to
Right.
be a part of this. I want to get involved in the lives of kids." Check yourself. I'm just saying, there's something you could do. So anyway, what else you got for us?
School board meeting, that was it. I mean, it was
Okay.
it was an exciting evening, and again, just you know, I'm going to go back and brag on those students that were there and the work that they've accomplished, and can't wait to meet the high school students and what they're doing, and to get those recognitions in.
Well, you even had the honor choir come in. They have a middle school honor choir,
Yeah.
right, and a high school.
Middle and high school honor choir.
Okay,
and
because
all.
I was thinking whenever I saw something about the honor choir yesterday, I thought that was high school, but it was all the middle school.
Both, yeah.
I love that
yeah.
we have that for all of them, and because we talk about all these things, they had the honor choir last week, and I
Yes.
think from a high school and maybe middle school
They
perspective.
did they both, right?
Yeah, because
Last
we've
Friday
had some
night?
of them involved in it because we've been covering it in the news.
Yeah.
And so, but I love that you have those opportunities. Talking about middle school, you were talking about IA, and we had our professional development day last week. And so Mr. Gregory had me go over to IA and talk to them about some of the things that they're doing, teaching the kids about the opportunities in audio and video. And going in and seeing this career development class that they've got for them, hydroponics stuff and things from the flight simulator and a 3D computer. I mean, doing the 3D. What is the things where they
3D printing?
3D printing.
Yes.
And that's not in my genre, but anyway. And then they had another computer that was like a 3D or computer that was, it was just so cool. Some of the stuff they were doing. I'm like, forget it. Forget what I do. I want to see what else you got going on here. Yeah. And it was so cool. And that's a middle school opportunity that the kids are going, what are you interested? You know, we're talking to these kids and going, what are you interested in? And that's is it career development? Is that the name of it?
Career development, career exploration.
Career exploration, I think,
so
is
both,
what they call it.
Yeah. Just the idea of, putting those careers out there in front of you. I don't know how we learned about different careers, when we were in school. Yeah. But our counselors working through the the CT programming in middle school, again, helps you be better prepared and more specialized as you get into high school and taking the courses that you exactly need to head where you're going to. And with those career certifications and, our students are coming out of school with exploration and those certifications that they need to go straight into jobs many times.
Well, in talking about the things, when you talk about who led us, honestly and truthfully, I didn't know about a lot of options. I mean, it's so interesting that I'm teaching because I started out as a teaching major in college at Freed-Hardeman. And because that's all, I mean, I grew up rural Western Kentucky, grew up on a farm. And one of my mentors was one of my coaches in high school, Miss Jackson, and she taught speech and English and coached. And I was like, well, I played basketball. That's what I need to do. I need to go and get my teaching license, and I'm gonna be Miss Jackson. That was kind of in my because that seemed like a good fit because I was a speaker, and if I'd been a boy, I'd been a preacher. But just saying, we won't go there. But anyway, so it's one of those things. I started and when I sit down I was in chapel one day at Freed-Hardeman, and they started talking about needing people to do news at the college radio station. And whenever we played basketball, we were just big old country girls. We got beat like 6 times in 4 years. So they were always interviewing us. And I was not the good ball player. I was just I was a rebounder, that thing. And so I wasn't the star, but they always wanted to interview me. And Gary Kidd used to say, I want to talk to LaVern. She sounds good on the radio. That one little piece of seed is what opened up my broadcast career. And I'm so amazed at the little things we say to kids and the little opportunities we give them. And so when you say that, and I think about the things that affected me, I didn't really know the options because, I don't know, a good Lord's going to put you where he needs you. Right. But if I had known some of the things that I could have done, oh my goodness, I'd have probably gone military path and explored the communications, venues or opportunities there. But I think about my son as recently as my youngest son, who is an electrical engineer now. And if he had been given the opportunities of career exploration, and he had always had an engineering mind, and he always wanted to do that. He was taking apart engines when he was a little kid, that kind of thing. And so he always had this engineering mind. If he could have had this career exploration, the time it would have saved him getting into his career. The ones that are interested in medical. I've got one of my kids, Alex Maddox, I'm going to call him out here. He's one of my star AV students. But as he's seeing the ins and outs and the opportunities in AV, he's also very interested in medical. He's wanting to go. He is going in now to the going to go into an EMT program out of high school. But there was a medical program he could have done career path wise.
Right.
In high school that would have got him set for that. Yeah. Now he doesn't have quite time to do it now because he's going to be a senior. But yes, if you can get them pointed in the right direction in middle school, oh my goodness, you're going to save so much time.
Yeah. I use the word specialized, but I think those students that don't know, and maybe they don't have the parents to sit down and talk about what skills do you have to get to that position. Those classes help them know that maybe I don't need to take as many history classes if I'm going into that medical
history,
profession.
But I really need this other. I could read a book.
Right,
Yeah.
and so to specialize and to pick your
Yeah.
electives, I know when I went through college, I found out there were a couple of classes that were only offered maybe in the spring or in the fall
Yeah.
or something, and that happens in our high schools as well. And so
Mm-hmm.
knowing and working with those counselors that'll help you plan those
Huge.
things out,
Mm-hmm.
because you'd hate to think you really wanted that class, but it was only offered last fall.
Yeah.
You know, you
So there's
missed it.
just so many things. It's just so interesting and it is so complex. And there's so many people that work so hard to help the kids navigate this and to be able to do it from we kind of go back around to the what we're doing in middle school is beautiful. And so, be a part of it, see what's going on, circle back around to the job fair. Let me go ahead and do my last break and we'll come back around and we'll close there. We'll just kind of unpack the job fair again. If you have any questions though for Dr. Weeks or anybody that's involved in an administrative level, teacher level, whatever you have concerning you in Robertson County Schools, always big open door. Just give them a call and tell them what you're needing. And you may have to leave. You'll probably have to leave a message because we're all in. If we're in class or we're busy and all those things or in meetings. But just really get involved to see what all is going on at Robertson County Schools. And we'll let Dr. Weeks unpack the job fair that's coming up this afternoon. After I talk about my friend's Veterans Motorplex, I messaged Jerry last night because I had. I had Caleb Stratton in yesterday, and that Caleb's got the connection to the race community because he's part of the Bubba About Broke podcast, and I love talking to them because all things racing, we're underway, guys. Now we're not racing yet, okay? They're making some improvements to the track. I messaged Jerry last night. I said, so exactly, because I messaged him the other day. I said, do you want to start your ads back up because their season's officially March through October. And he's like, yeah, let's go on. Let's get everybody ready. So we want to get you ready for racing at the old Highland Rim Speedway. As far as racing, when's it going to start? He's really saying probably the first or second weekend in April. First or second weekend in April is when we're looking at Veterans Motorplex having their first race. Now, they had their banquet last weekend. They're doing a lot of improvements out there this week, over the next couple of weeks. But, man, they are gearing up to get going with racing. And if you want to be a part of just a family-friendly, there's no alcohol served. They got this great concession stand, burgers and fries and hot dogs and everything you would expect. Super family-friendly environment. Saturdays, starting as soon as possible, as soon as they can get the track ready, they'll be ready to go at 6801 Kelly Willis Road, and that's in Greenbrier. I have a lot of kids. Some of my students work out there. Some of them's been their first job. But you can call if you have questions, 615-643-8725, 615-643-8725. Follow them on social media. All you have to do is go to Highland Rim Speedway. If you want to follow them, you'll see they changed the name, Veterans Motorplex, but they kept the social media page, Highland Rim Speedway. They do talk shows and podcasts to keep you up to date on everything that's going on, and we will let you know as soon as we have an absolute first race of the season time, and it's coming up very soon, just in the next couple of weeks. He said first or second week of April, but they're going to have that $40 family ticket that will get up to 8 people in for $40. That's up to 6 kids and 2 adults for $40. They're going to honor that ticket. Now that's a normal gate ticket. If they have a specialty type event, sometimes those tickets do change. But if you want to learn more about Veterans Motorplex, follow them at Highland Rim Speedway. Veterans Motorplex, follow them at Highland Rim Speedway. And when you contact them, please let them know you turn Ascension over. All right, Dr. Danny Weeks, our director of schools. That's all the details again about this.
Job fair for anyone interested in anything that we do around the education field. Certainly teachers. We need teachers. We're hiring for, we have some positions open right now. So if someone, maybe has just moved to the area and wanting to go ahead and get their feet in the ground, we can work with them. If there are job openings, there's several positions that we've not been able to fill all year long. So we can bring those folks in and start now. But mainly it's geared for next year. So we're excited about finding teachers for those vacancies that are out there next year. Our HR staff will be on hand. They'll have applications. They'll show you how to get online and complete everything you need. If you don't have a degree, or if you haven't quite finished your degree, bring your transcript. We have folks there from Austin Peay State University that are going to help people look at their transcripts, see if we can make something work and put it together. So it's not just for those people that have that education degree. I just want to stress that, come on in and let's talk, and we'll figure out what we can do to help you if we possibly can. Our principals or assistant principals from every one of our schools are going to be there because everybody has some sort of vacancy in their building. So we've told them we have contracts and we're willing to sign contracts today, and just excited about that opportunity. Teaching, we have lots of positions in our maintenance, in our custodial, in our school nutrition, our transportation department. You name it. If you have an interest in working with the school system, we can find something for you to do. 800 MS Couts Boulevard. It's over off Central Avenue here in the city of Springfield. We'll get you directions if your GPS won't drag you there. 615-384-5588.
Do that number one more time.
615-384-5588. Just ask for the HR department. They'll get you in the right place.
All right. Sounds great, guys. Again, could be a life changer for you. It was for me 2 years ago. Can't say enough about it. Get out to that job fair today. And, just love on your schools in any way you can, because we are doing everything we can to change, to really be there for the kiddos and give them the most amazing future that they have possible. So thank you so much for joining us. Thank you guys for joining us. And I want to remind you, tomorrow it is Stay Positive News Day. We're going to have a visit from Allison. She is our regular second Tuesday visitor now. Rachel Allison will be here.